Welcome back to Small Caps. My name is Kerry Stevenson, and today talking about copper, one of my favourite commodities, because most of you will know in our new green environment, copper is going to be very much in demand. Today I'm talking with Max Tuesley. He's the Managing Director of Culpeo Minerals, which is about to list on the ASX. The code will be CPO, listing later in August. So they've already raised the funds, they're ready to go, and it's a pretty exciting story. So here to tell us the story, Max, welcome to Small Caps. Great to see you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kerry.
Before we get started, because this is the first time we've had a chat, let's tell our audience, our listeners, who are Culpeo Minerals and where you're operating. Just a brief overview.
Okay, yeah, well, as you mentioned, Kerry, we're a copper-focused company. We're exploring in Chile, in the Atacama Desert. We have 3 projects there. They're all IOCG style, which tend to be higher grade, multi-element copper and gold, and obviously in areas where there's quite a bit of existing infrastructure. So we're pretty happy to have such sort of classy assets initially to explore.
I love that. Classy assets. I haven't heard that one before. For those that don't know, because look, we've got lots of investors that listen to our interviews. When you say IOCG, why is that important? What does it mean? Unpack that a little bit for those that are not geos and who are scratching their head going, what does that mean?
Yeah, that's a good question. And an IOCG, by definition, is an iron oxide copper gold deposit. So it's, in Australia, we have deposits like Ernest Henry, Olympic Dam. In the Chile, we've got Candelaria, which isn't actually too far from one of our projects. So they tend to be a little bit higher grade than the traditional porphyry copper deposits, which is a good thing. There's obviously a copper and gold association, which gives you that gold credit to bump up your overall head grade of the deposits that you're chasing. And in Chile, which is where we are, they usually occur in the coastal belt. So they, as what I said before is, one of our criteria is in areas where there's existing infrastructure. So the IOCGs fit, they tick all the boxes for what we're chasing in Chile.
And Chile is very well known for copper. It's one of the top places to look for copper?
Well, Chile's the #1 copper producer in the world, and obviously their economy is very dependent on copper production. They understand the importance of mining and copper mining, so it's a good place to be exploring for copper.
And is it easy to work over in Chile? Because I know, Max, you've worked all over the world. You've worked in the Philippines. You've worked all over the world. What's it like as a place to work and to get the job done?
Yeah, that's from my point of view, it's been an amazing experience so far. The ability to talk to people and automatically see the understanding from the communication that you're having, that they understand mining, they understand exploration. It's a very nice thing for me to experience so far. I've obviously worked in some more difficult jurisdictions, but so far Chile has been an amazing place to get these projects started in. We're seeing some very experienced geologists come on board and join our team. So, and we've also got, a lot of drilling companies and assay labs. So the ability to do the whole gamut of the exploration process is very easy.
Okay, so before we go into your 3 projects, very quickly, I just want to ask, you've had a lot of experience in copper, and for those people out there, there's lots of companies out there and there's lots of commodities. Just give us a very brief overview of why you think copper, like investing in a story like yourselves, because you're focused on copper, is so important in this new age that we're getting into.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Look, my experience is I'm an Australian geologist. I've worked in places like Cloncurry and the Pilbara chasing base metals. I've worked in Southeast Asia, Central Asia, Africa. All those countries are very prospective, but obviously Chile, being that #1 copper producer, having the amount of discoveries historically, it's certainly a very good spot to be in. From an economic point of view, worldwide, where we really are seeing a focus on this move to the green energy, Green New Deal. I mean, they're calling copper the new oil. And look, this is a fundamental change of, I think, philosophy for the world. This isn't about China. This is not about companies building or advancing their economies. This is a worldwide understanding that we need to move into that green energy field, and copper is a huge player in that. I mean, people talk about batteries for electric vehicles. It's copper that supplies all the wiring, supplies all the infrastructure. Copper is certainly a large part of this fundamental change that the world's going through.
And for those of you that don't realise, all those electric vehicles out there need 4 times the amount of copper in them than internal combustion engines. Just putting it out there and letting you know. So we need to find more copper to go green. Let's go into your projects, please, Max. Your flagship project, which is, I believe, near surface high grade, which is Potakas, the copper project. Can you just share with us where you're at with that and what the news flow will be?
Yeah, well, Potakas is quite an advanced project, Kerry. It's in a very good place. It's in elephant country, really. It's only 15 kilometres south of the billion-tonne Candelaria IOCG deposit, which is about a 0.8, 0.9% copper equivalent. That's owned by Lundin Mining and has been a bit of a cash cow for them over the last 20 years. We're just south of there. We're on the same geological structure, which is part of the Atacama Fault. Interestingly, Atacama Fault hosts the majority of the IOCGs in Chile, so it's a very important structural zone that runs up the spine of Chile. Our projects in that area, as I mentioned, our projects had a bit of previous exploration, so there's no doubt that there's copper mineralisation there. We've got all the historical data. The interesting thing is the previous explorers never did any sort of geophysical surveys, didn't do a lot of multi-element geochemistry, so they were a bit more of a shotgun approach to their drilling. We believe there's a lot of upside to both extend that already known mineralisation, and we have also defined some near surface geophysical targets that are currently undrilled. So our plan is a two-pronged track, is to go and join the dots, if you like, between some of the historical intersections that they have had, and also target these newly defined targets that we are very excited about. They're large, they're sort of 300 by 500 metre in sort of dimension. The geophysics suggests that they're close to the surface. In fact, there's outcropping copper mineralisation associated with these anomalies. So back to your question, we aim to be drilling those on the first day of listing.
Wow, first day of listing, back into the ground, into the drill bit. So have you got a rig on site? But the second question, I want to find out about how quickly you're going to get drilling, but you say day one. How did you get your hands on this? Because it sounds to me like there's the potential to find quite a lot of mineralization, and it's as you just said, it's along the same geological structure as that much larger deposit to the north. How did you guys get your hands on it?
On the project itself?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit of history there. The project was 50% held by an entity related to the Chilean government. They call them the Phoenix Funds, and it was a way of the Chilean government to bring in investors into areas. So the Chilean government actually funded some of the historical drilling. They're in joint venture with a local partner. So we made an offer to the Chilean government for their 50%. Off market, obviously, and they accepted that offer. So we've already paid for that. So we already own 50%, and we've recently earned 58% by an additional 8%, taking our total ownership to 58% by undertaking a fairly comprehensive geophysical survey. So obviously, that's what I mentioned before. That's what's generated some of those targets.
And so the more work you do you increase the ownership of that particular project going forward?
Absolutely. The way the deal's structured is it's spend money, earn our way in. We, over the next sort of 24 months, we will earn up to 85% of the project. Right. So it's a nice deal, beneficial for both parties. We spend the money, we earn in, and then we obviously have first right of refusal on the remaining 15% at the end of that period.
And are these the partner that you've got in this deal? Are they a local Chilean family, or who are they?
Yeah, they are. They're a mining entity, and they're pretty reasonable people to deal with, and being obviously Chilean, I think that's a good sort of partner to have in for an Australian company working in Chile.
Great. So you're doing all the work there. Are they almost like a silent partner? They're just sitting back and allowing you to get on with all of your geophysical surveys and everything, the work that you need to do?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. They are not really geologists or mining engineers. So yeah, we get to do all the work, and obviously they can start committing expenditure once we get to that 85% mark, or obviously if they don't want to spend money, they'll dilute their interest.
And are they across all three projects?
No, they're involved in the Potakas project. We have another joint venture partner in our second major project, and the third project is actually 100% owned by us.
Okay, so let's go into the second project, which is Quelon. Very briefly, because we're running out of time. Let's go into Quelon. You're starting to drill at Potakas. What's going to happen with what's your workflow for Quelon?
Okay, so yeah, at Potakas we'll be drilling day one. We do have a bit more geophysics to do at Potakas as well, just extending some of the already defined anomalies. Our plan at Quelon is to go in there first with some additional geological mapping and some additional geophysics. So we aim to be doing that in the third quarter. Quelon's an interesting project, probably a little bit less advanced than Potakas. Certainly got a lot of potential. There's outcropping copper mineralisation up to 3.5%. It's also an IOCG target. It also has potential for the Mantos style sort of stratigraphically controlled copper mineralisation, which is a nice, attractive exploration target. It's near surface. It's got the right geometries for an open cut mine, being flat dipping in its nature. So, Quelon, the interesting thing about Quelon is it's never been drilled historically. So it's a bit of it's probably an opportunity to paint our masterpiece there, with the fact that there's been no drilling, but there's certainly a lot of surface geochemistry. There has been some sort of local, I wouldn't call it small-scale mining, but local mining where they've taken some of the oxide ore to some of the treatment plants nearby. So there's certainly a lot of mineralisation, no historic drilling. We're not ready to drill it immediately. We want to do a little bit more geochemistry and geophysics, as I said, just to make sure that when we do drill it, we get bang for the buck out of the drilling, obviously.
Max, paint the picture of where that sits along from Potakas. Is it very far away?
Well, it is it's not that far away from my point of view. It's a couple of 100 kilometres to the south of Potakas. It's closer to Santiago City. So Potakas is about 700 kilometres north of Santiago. Quellon's about 300 kilometres north of Santiago. So both, as I mentioned before, in the Atacama fault zone, both of them, close to infrastructure and obviously close to that coastal region of Chile. So
easy access. San Sebastian, that's your 100% owned project. Is that correct?
That's right. That's a little bit further north of Potakas. One thing that we should mention is Potakas is very close to the regional centre of Culpeo City. So that's where we're very confident that we have drill rigs already available and workforce already available. San Sebastian is not far to the north of the same city. So as the crow flies, it's probably only 50 to 80 kilometres away from Potakas. It's a smaller exploration project, but it's based on an old historic mine. So there's some fairly exceptional grades came out of that mine, up to 6.5% copper. So it's a structurally controlled IOCG copper gold. So it's certainly got its own story and a lot of potential as well. But for our listeners out there at the moment, the focus when you hit the boards sometime later in August, the focus and the drill bit will be going to Potakas. Absolutely, yeah. We've got a total of 6,000 metres budgeted for Potakas, starting in the month of August, and let's see how we go there. We're pretty confident we'll have some success, and we also plan to be down in Quellon after we complete that mapping and geophysics. We should be drilling in Quellon in the fourth quarter. So plenty of news coming out at the moment. You're listing towards the end. You've raised 6 million. So the IPO is done, ladies and gentlemen. So don't get overexcited. They've already raised the money. They've got the money. They've got the money to put the drill bit. They're lean and clean and ready to go. So as I said at the start, the ASX code is CPO. Max, I always love finishing up with this. Tell our listeners 3 reasons why you think that Culpeo, is it Culpeo or Culpeo? And what does that mean? Culpeo Minerals. That's named after a fox that is sort of lives in the Atacama Desert, both within Chile and Peru. So we like the name Culpeo, and particularly the fact that the first 2 letters are CU. So it does have that. That's a bit clever. All right, well, let's finish here. Let's bring it home and say what are those 3 reasons that people, our investors, our audience need to be really watching what you guys are doing over there in Chile? Yeah, well, to cap it off, Kerry, we've got high grade projects in the coastal Cordillera of Chile, in areas of pre-existing infrastructure. We're in areas of known mineralisation, so we're very confident that we have some exceptional targets there. The Potakas project in particular has already got walk-up drill targets, and as we've talked about, the drill rig will be there on the first day of listing. And I suppose the third thing is, we like being in Chile. Chile is a pro-mining country, some exceptional success and discoveries there historically. So I really think we're in a very good position to return some very exciting news to the investors in the next few months. It's going to be a busy few months, ladies and gentlemen. Where do you find copper deposits? Where they've been before. So Max Tuesley from Culpeo, so I still can't get it right, from Foxy Minerals, Culpeo Minerals, ASX code CPO. Thank you so much for joining me on Small Caps today. Thank you very much, Kerry.